morning. It is almost a few minutes to afternoon. I was supposed to say good afternoon, but hatujafikia hapo bado. So good morning from wherever you're watching us from. Welcome. This is Oracle Television Network. And going back to the morning conversation, we did promise you that we are going to have another panel to discuss about the cabinet shake-up. Now, with me on set, I have two very beautiful ladies. On my far end, I have Bernice Karita. She's an advocate of the High Court of Kenya. And then on the other side, I have Shiro Wachif. She'll tell us why she's called Shiro Wachif, but she's the Youth League chairperson, that is for the Democratic Congress of Party. The only way a person can introduce themselves better, so I'm going to start with Bernice over there.
Good morning. My name is Bernice Karita. I'm an advocate of the High Court of Kenya. Yes, and I love politics, and I'm glad to be here to discuss about the legal framework and what happens after the shake-up.
Interesting. Then Shiro.
Good morning. My name is Gladys Wanjiro, or another name Shiro Wachif. My dad's nickname is Chief, so I associate myself with him so much. That is why I got the name Wachif. I'm the Youth League chairperson in the Democratic Congress. Party called the Butterfly, has a butterfly logo headed by the Honorable Peter Kenneth, and he sent his greetings to you, together in the neck, led by Evanson Karaja and Evanson Kipkoech.
Thank you so much, ladies, for showing up for this particular interview. And to you back at home, our viewers, remember that we are still in our Partners Week, so you can continue partnering with us. Our producer will put the pay bill number for partnership in just a few minutes. Now, delving into the conversation, before we get to the legal framework and also to the political part of it, I want to know, Bernice, what do you think about the cabinet shake-up? Like your honest opinion, thoughts.
Kudos to Mr. President. The last time we were here on Friday last week, I gave a suggestion that all of them should go home. And I'm glad that all of them have gone home. Yes, so for me, that was such a good move that Gen Zs are feeling that our outcry has been heard, our suggestions have been taken into considerations and have been acted upon.
That's right. Shiro, what do you think about this cabinet shake-up?
I also think I can applaud the president for the bold move, and I'm hoping the next selection or appointment will be issue-based and competency-based. We had a discussion before we went live, and someone said the more things change, the more they remain the same. So you want to see whether they will totally change or they still remain the same. We want to urge him to continue listening to the voices of the people. He has portrayed himself as a person who listens, but I think the first voice was Aguka Nayo, Ruto must go. They also don't agree with him reserving Musalia Mudavadi because his seat is very unconstitutional. I think Wakili will guide us through. His seat is very unconstitutional, and it's just ironic how he dismisses all these others and reserves this unconstitutional one. So it's also a call to him to sober up and get to see things clearly.
Okay, now in case you're wondering what we are speaking about, so yesterday in the afternoon hours, I think it was exactly 2 p.m., the president apparently made that bold step by firing all his cabinet secretaries. And when I mean all his cabinet secretaries, of course, except for the prime cabinet secretary and for the deputy president, so including the attorney general was also affected, and that move has been largely been contributed to the protests that have been going on. Now, Wakili, maybe to start us off, under what circumstances is a president advised to dissolve his cabinet?
Number one, I can in this particular instance there were ongoing protests, and among the key issues that were raised was one, dissolve the cabinet, because there were so many issues of corruption. Funds were not being accounted for, some tasks were not being performed correctly, and therefore they were not following their mandate as stipulated by the constitution. And therefore it was just necessary for him to actually dismiss the whole cabinet, because it was either him or them. So I think it was just a bold move to decide this government has to work. So the first step that I must do is to dismiss the cabinet. You know, the work of the cabinet is to help the president in administration and in performing functions of the government. So if your government is not working, which was clear, that's why there were ongoing protests. So who is the first person you fire? The cabinet secretary. Yes.
And Wakili, the constitution does give the president the power to fire his cabinet or dissolve his cabinet.
Yes.
And maybe do the cabinet have that mandate or that loophole of trying to get back?
No, they do not have. Because they can be appointed and dismissed by the president. And that is not a permanent employment. Yes.
And Shiro, what do you think about this? Do you think that this is the biggest fruit the Gen Zs have been waiting for?
The biggest was to withdraw the finance bill. That is where the narrative came from. The draconian finance bill is now down. Could be the second. Obviously, they occupied parliament. That was a win. Or I'm also an old Gen Z, and we made it to the parliament, and we made our voices heard. Then the cabinet is down. I think that is also a great move towards, coming up with a healthy governance and ethical governance. And we want to see the president listening more to these people. If he fails to listen, it will be a minus on his side, because it's obvious like he was losing popularity, but I think he is trying to make a comeback by portraying himself, as I had said earlier, as a person who listens. So I think it's a win for the Gen Z, and I want to applaud them, all of them. They have made sure that things are straight. Again, we now need to look at the parastatal heads, because that is where the corruption, that is the roots of all mothers of corruption. We need to go down, even we devolve to our counties, to our constituencies. We saw them sending greetings to our members of parliament because of voting against their wish, of which I wondered why you would vote a yes and your people are saying you vote a no, yet your role is to represent them. So I wondered who they really represent if the voices of the people from the ground are not reflected in the parliament. So I applaud the Gen Zs and I forge them on.
Okay, and Wakili, what are we likely expected to see? Now that the country has no cabinet, the president right now we say he's in governance alone. There is no cabinet at all. What are we expecting to see, or rather, how long does he have to form a new cabinet?
There's no specific time frame.
Okay.
But I think he should do it in the soonest time possible. But if you heard his speech, and even in accordance to the constitution, there are appointed principal secretaries to the cabinet. So they will actually undertake the functions of the cabinet secretaries. So everything will move swiftly and smoothly. There will be no backlash or backlog of something that needs to be done. Everything will move. So what I think, and what is the key suggestion that I think he should take into consideration, he said that he will extensively engage political parties and other sectors in the appointment. Right now, you have had the people, they are busy telling the president, we want you to, these positions to be publicly announced, public shortlisting, and the interviews to be public, for us to know that the appointed cabinet secretaries have been appointed on merit. So I think that is the key task.
Okay, and maybe what framework or what process does he have to go through to choose the cabinet?
Normally, he doesn't have a particular process or framework that he should follow. This is usually, it's like a loyalty gifts. You helped me campaign, then I'll give you this position as a cabinet secretary. So he doesn't have specific guidelines on who to appoint where.
Okay, and the biggest role of a cabinet secretary, I understand, is to help the president go ahead and fulfill the manifesto he gave to his people. Now, right now, without a cabinet, or rather with a cabinet that is not working as he said, because I remember sometime back he did say that there are some cabinet secretaries he has that don't even know anything about what they are doing or the ministry they are in. So Shiro, maybe when he's choosing another cabinet, what is it that the president should really look for?
You should look for competency. Should look for merit. For example, let's take a crucial document like the youth ministry. I don't see the logic of appointing a 60-year-old to represent the youth. That's basic knowledge. You should make sure that in every appointment merit is counter-checked. If it is the Ministry of Agriculture, don't bring a person from the communication side. You do nothing. Bring someone who has the intellectual capability of handling agriculture issues and coming up with all these processes that will now narrow down to the people, so that the ministries can really be felt by the people and general growth. So I think you should look for competence and merit. Yeah.
And Bandis, I'll take you back to 19 years ago, where we saw the former and later President Mwai Kibaki also dissolve his cabinet. But now, in his case, he dissolved the whole cabinet secretaries and also the assistants. Now, maybe what is the difference between the reasons why President Mwai Kibaki back then dissolved his cabinet and the reasons why President Ruto is dissolving his cabinet right now?
I think they're almost similar. The only thing with the current dissolvement is because of the outcry of the people. Why they are all the outgoing cabinet secretaries, most of them have issues of corruption, and the others, we don't even know them. People are even surprised there's such and such a name. People didn't know what kind of functions they did. So it is clear they were not performing or they were not undertaking their tasks as they should. So to save his face as a president, what do? You sack them, because it will have been really hard to sack specific people and leave others. So for me, I think he just decided, let all of them go. Though I still think maybe a third may be retained.
And does the law provide a legal framework of how these cabinet secretaries should be appointed, or is just the president just decides to favor someone?
If you read the Constitution in chapter 9, you'll be surprised cabinet secretaries are just appointed by the president. They do not specify on the qualification. You saw there's one cabinet secretary who was a ward administrator, and he rose to become a whole cabinet secretary. What does that tell you? Was it in accordance to merit?
No.
And Shiro, what does this really mean for the country? The whole, because over the past few weeks, we've seen the president really change a lot of things, starting from the austerity measures, going to the public debt audit, then now the cabinet shake-up. What does this really mean for the country?
It means that we are now headed to the right direction. Though not so clear, we give it time. We check whether things will align. But I think now we are heading to the good direction. Yeah.
And Wakili, there's a 6-day dialogue that has been proposed by the president, and of course it's as a result of the protests as well. But now the problem is here. The people who want to be spoken to don't want to be spoken to, and the president, I'd say, he's really trying his best. You can see from what he did yesterday. So maybe what is it that he is doing wrong? What is it that he is not doing up to what he's supposed to do to at least let these people listen to him?
I think he's really trying to engage the people to listen to what they want. For me, that's a plus, and I commend the president for that. But I also think the youth should give him a chance, because this is a person who has shown you that you wanted me to come to your level, you wanted me to listen to you. I am here. The problem is, I think, as we have known, normally this dialogue is usually for the selected few, but the Gen Zs are telling you we are leaderless, we are partyless. So we don't want a specific group of people to be the ones representing us. We all want our voices to be heard, which is very hard, because how will you have the whole 50 million at State House or at KICC? So my suggestion is, if I was the president of Kenya, I'll ensure these dialogue initiatives are taken to the constituency levels, where I'll instruct the members of parliament to hold these, if I can call them, kamkunjis, and invite the president. You know, with smaller number of people, you are able to listen. So you start in Kasarani, you go to Embakasi. It will take a longer period of time, but I think people will see that you're really trying to listen to everyone. You will not have just selected a few number of people. That's my take.
Yeah, and adding to what Ban is saying, Shiro, the president has really tried his best. As I said, we've seen him withdraw the finance bill. We've seen him put austerity measures. Now the cabinet shake-up. He has dissolved his whole cabinet. How much pressure does he have to bow to for Kenyans to really like trust him again?
The pressure is increasing, and I want to echo what Banis is saying. Let the youth give the president a chance. They have put their claims out here. They have said, you don't want this, we don't want this is what we want, and this is what we want. Let us give him now time and chance to tell us what, or to give a response to our claims and to our recommendations. Because once we don't give him time or the chance, we will not have made any progress. We will keep talking, and then there will come a time, hata yes yatachoka na sisi aseme anguka nayo pia. So a clarion call to the youth, let us give him a chance. Yes.
And okay, Banis, in terms of law, is the president allowed to reappoint the cabinet secretaries that he has already fired?
Yes.
Nothing bars him. So there's no like a particular clause, a particular article that really restricts the appointment of cabinet secretaries. And what does this really mean?
Unless the only thing that can bar someone is if he was dismissed because of gross violation, and you defied the provisions of the constitution. With that, people can actually move to court and say, this is a person who has this record, he did things and this, why should he be reappointed?
And do you think that by shaking up the cabinet, we've really solved the problem of incompetency, as most of the people are putting it? Do you think we are going to solve that particular problem of where maybe some ministries are not working, maybe others you yourself has said that there are people who don't even know some cabinet ministers exist or some ministries exist. Now, by him dissolving the whole cabinet, do you think we've solved the problem?
I think it's just a start. If you want to cut a tree, where do you start?
The root.
Yes. If you have competent leaders at the top, it means you'll be able, the leaders will help you prune the incompetency in its particular department. The president will not be able to know all employees in all ministries. So they'll have to have someone like the leader of that ministry. And who is that? The cabinet secretary. So the first person you should at least approach is the cabinet secretary. If you have a person who is competent, then it means you'll be able to ensure there's efficiency in that particular state department. We have a long way to go, but I think that is the start.
Okay, and after all the cabinet secretaries being fired, the prime cabinet or the PSSs, they are still there. So maybe for someone at home who doesn't understand, what is really the difference between these two?
The work of the principal secretary, their role is like a human resource, if I may say. They create policies and legislations that they are able to regulate or to ensure efficiency in the State Department. But the work of our cabinet secretary is to help the president in managing and promoting the affairs of the government. So right now it's like we are upgrading our principal secretary to take up 2 roles. So other than ensuring efficiency among the employees, then you also have to come up with policies that ensure that that State Department is actually undertaking its mandate.
Okay.
And becoming accountable to the president.
And maybe before we wind up, Wakili, how many ministries does the constitution provide for us to have?
In appointment of cabinet secretaries, they should not be fewer than 14 and not more than 22.
Okay.
That's the stipulation.
And is the president allowed to slash them?
Yes, within that number.
Within the number?
Not fewer than 14 and not more than 22.
Okay. And Shiro, the youth have spoken and they've said that if you're going to be making these appointments, we want you to make it public. We want to hear interviews. We want to see interviews going on. Do you think this is going to happen?
That is for the president to decide the process he will use, but I would guide him not to use the earlier mentioned royalist path, because this loyalists to him have really failed him. We have seen so many circumstances and instances of them fronting to the public and disgracing the presidency. For example, an example of Moses Kuria with his numerous wars with the deputy president who is part of the presidency. I would want him now to take the route that the youth wants. If it is the public engagement, let it be so that it is clear and it is, to the core with no diversions. Yeah.
And Banis, do you think he should stop there? Because apart from the cabinet, ministries, we also have the parastatals down there. We also have to the county levels. We've seen a lot of Kenyans really come out to say that, President, you've done a good job, but now you need to go to the county levels. Do you think that is what he should say? He should do?
We live in a devolved system. So when we are trying to tell the president to go to the county levels, the president is not a head of the county. He's the head of the national government. And there is a procedure of removing a governor. So it's for us to understand what is the procedure of removing a governor, and we start that process. I understand in the national government, the president can actually do a reshuffle, dismissal. He has that mandate. By the time he's going to the county government, that is usurping the role of the devolution. He's not going to be doing what is right as stipulated by the constitution.
Okay, and my producer is telling me that we're running out of time, but before we actually wind up, I'd give each of you maybe a minute for your parting shot. I'll start with Shiro over here. Maybe you tell us what to expect now that the cabinet has been shaken up. We do not have a cabinet anymore, and maybe your last final view.
So my expectations is that the president will continue listening to what the people are saying, that he will adhere to what the voices are saying. Let him listen to all the diversity of the demographic of Kenya. We have the millennials, the Gen Z, the boomers, all those. Let him listen to them collectively so that we don't get so biased. And I expect that Kenya will be a peaceful place, and that everyone will thrive in their spaces. Then my parting shots, my NYS in the Democratic Congress, I want to tell them thank you for the support, and we are coming to the counties soon and very soon.
Okay, Wakili.
My parting shot is, I commend Mr. President for his bold move yesterday. What he did, we did not expect, and we are still very surprised, but it's actually the best. But I recommend that when he's appointing, let him appoint people with merit and competency. I'll insist on that. We need to see a government that is working, and for it to work efficiently, we need good and able leaders.
Mhm.
Because if everything was working correctly, we'll not be going to the streets.
Mhm.
You understand?
Yeah.
So he has a very big task ahead,
Mhm.
and I will recommend that he does public shortlisting.
Okay.
Yes.
Maybe before we wind up, we have a few questions. And I can see someone here asking, Wakili, does this mean now that the ministries are paralyzed?
They are not paralyzed.
Uh-huh.
We have principal secretaries,
Mhm.
so they will undertake the same functions that the cabinet secretaries were undertaking.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay, and maybe back to that question. How far can the principal secretaries go when it comes to managing the ministries?
They have the mandate currently to undertake all that is needed.
Okay.
They will even be accountable to the president in what the ministries are doing and what needs to be done.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And Shiro, do you think, okay, they said that the cabinet ministers are incompetent, no work is being done. Shiro, do you think the principal secretaries are up to that task?
I don't think the president spared them. It's only that he didn't want the ministries to be a vacuum in the ministries. But I think that is just my view. After the appointment of the cabinet secretaries and after they have assumed their respective offices, I think now he should now come back to slash the PSs, because I don't think they were also appointed on merit and competency basis. So I think after the appointment of the CSs or whatever procedure will be, he'll come back to the PSs. They were not spared. It's only that the president didn't want the ministries to have a vacuum.
Waki, let me take you back to late President Mwai Kibaki 19 years ago. So when he made that decision, he dissolved everyone, and I mean everyone. He started his government all over again. And looking at President William Ruto's decision yesterday, he's reading from the same manuscript. By retaining these principal secretaries, do you think we'll have the same results once he returns the cabinet secretaries or appoints new cabinet secretaries?
I don't think we'll have the same results. Number one, I can just give a plain example. Your HR comes here and fires one of your employees, your fellow employees. What will happen? Tomorrow you'll come to work at 5 because you're afraid that you are the next person to go home. So I'm so sure in the next few days things will be working so efficiently, because everyone wants to protect their specific jobs. No one wants to go home. You understand?
Yeah.
So I think for one, it's a plus for us, because everyone will try and ensure that they are working effectively. And also this PS, they may want a promotion. So how will they get promoted if they're not working? See, some of them may be eyeing this big seat.
That is true. And of course, I remember that you can keep partnering with Oracle Television Network. Our producer will be putting that number on your screen. That is 171133. And I can see someone asking how you can partner with OTV. Now, you can partner with us in I think 4 ways. Number 1, you can use our pay bill 171133. Number 2, you can also go ahead and purchase Dr. Oracle's books. We also have a diary, and we also have cups. We also have like all the Oracle TV products. Number 3, you can also bring on your advert. And number 4, you can decide to sponsor your favorite show. Okay, in case you would be needing more information, you can keep texting us on 0711 176 006, and if you have any more questions, you can use that number as well. Now back to our conversation, Shiro. Do you think that this is the same act that the president should use in making sure that each and every department of the country is working?
Let him crack the whip. If the departments are not working, let his acts be slashed. All of them, let them go home. We have so many Kenyans who are who meet the requirements and they cannot assume those offices. Yeah.
Banis, should we maybe look for another way of appointing these cabinet secretaries?
Yes, that's why I was suggesting. Let's do a public. We first do the job vacancies to be declared publicly for people to apply. We can see the shortlisting to be done publicly, and for us to watch the interviews publicly, and for viewers to even give the recommendation. If you have ever worked with someone and you really know how competent or incompetent they are, we can give our views and suggestions.
Okay, Wakili, and once the president chooses his cabinet, once he has decided to appoint this cabinet, I understand that he has to take it back to parliament. Now, is the parliament allowed to reject these appointed members of the cabinet? And if they are allowed to, can they reject them? And if they reject them, is the president allowed to maybe return them?
One, the nomination, once you're nominated, you must go to parliament for scrutiny or vetting. So the parliament holds, is mandated to ensure that they actually approve the best or the competent for such a state department. But what we know currently is the ruling party holds the majority. So I'm so sure, as is the case, maybe you just receive a phone call. As we saw in the finance bill, all of you will say yes. You know. So, but if the members of parliament are actually fair and neutral people, they will actually be vetting people in accordance to their competence. And after they approve, they forward the names to the president for appointment. And normally, and according to the law, if the parliament deems fit that you are not the best person for that particular job, then the president should not appoint you, because that name was not forwarded to him for appointment.
So if the president forwards a name to the parliament and the parliament rejects that person, does the president have the choice of also rejecting that person or upholding that person?
Come again.
If the for example, the president has appointed a certain cabinet secretary for appointment, and then the parliament rejects, maybe the person is not competent or he has cases in court, based on that decision of the parliament, can the president still appoint that person?
No. Because the parliament must also forward the names of the people they vetted and they deemed best. So where will he have gotten that name?
So when it comes to appointing the cabinet secretaries, the president is really limited.
Yes, it's not that you're limited. You gave out your names to parliament. And parliament decided to approve. But once you're rejected by the parliament, then the president cannot extend his powers and say, no, the parliament did not approve you, but I will appoint you. The president does not have such powers.
Okay, and Shiro, let's go back to the members of parliament. We've had the youth really cry out that right now the National Assembly or the members of parliament, you have more of an extension to the executive. Now, when it comes to appointing these cabinet secretaries again, what do you think, or what shoes do you think the members of parliament are supposed to fit?
They should be guided by what the people think. I think Bernice had said about us coming out public and saying, if you have ever worked with this person and this person, you feel free to talk about him and say whether he's a good person or, you know, his character or isn't. So I think the parliament should be guided by the views of the people, the genuine views, not their feelings, because in the recent past they have been using their emotions. We want to see them using their logic. And again, we want the IBC constituted so that we can recall all these people. They are not representing us, they are representing I don't know who. We want it to be constituted, waende nyumbani, we recall them. Even I don't know whether it is legally right for the president to dissolve the parliament, whatever, waende nyumbani. We get a new fresh start, so that all these processes can be, you know, effective in the long run.
Okay, and these are members of parliament that Kenyans right now are saying they don't have faith in them. In fact, one of the reasons why Gen Zs are protesting, they want the IEBC, which the president signed the bill the other day to law, to start working and start being functional so they can be recalled. And right now, if the president decides to appoint the cabinet, he has to take them back to parliament. Now, Bernice, do you think Kenyans have faith in whoever the president is going to bring forward, or the parliament is going to appoint? Sorry.
If it's done publicly and everyone is able to see visibility, and they're able to note that this person was actually appointed or selected due to their competency, then the Kenyans will have faith. But if they are actually appointed through, like the loyalty card I had stated earlier before, and they are taken to parliament, obviously we know, if I can, without any prejudice or with tremendous respect, I can say that the parliament is a clown to the president, the current MPs. So we are sure they will just be told, kindly approve this, names ASAP. We need to have a functioning cabinet.
And don't you think these members of parliament have learned their lesson? Because with the hashtag Occupy Parliament, they were really scared. We saw most of them wearing, I personally saw some of them wearing t-shirts. I'm sorry I voted yes. I'm sorry I voted yes to the finance bill. Shiro, don't you think these people have learned their lesson?
We haven't. So far, we still see them tweeting, on even writing on their Facebook accounts and X account, you know, saying, you know, just showing that they don't care. They are just portraying they don't care attitude. You have, especially the MPs from the mountain. I don't know what is happening. You know, they just saying a lot of things that are provoking the youth. Actually, they are the ones fueling these protests. Because you see, today, maybe the protests were being done on Tuesdays. Then the youth are out on Tuesday. Then the member of parliament is that day in the evening tweets. Then he fuels the protest on Thursday. You know, they have not yet learned their lesson. I think their lesson will be learned when they will all be sent home, so that they know the power belongs to the people.
And now what is going on is that the Gen Z, because we've given them that name, are calling for the recalling of almost every person in government. So Wakili, maybe how deep does the president's whip have to crack so that these people can be satisfied?
Of course, you cannot satisfy everyone. That is number one. He can only do according to what he's mandated to do, because the president cannot fire a member of parliament. That is the work of the people to recall the member of parliament. But any person who has, or his name is tainted due to corruption issues, I think the president should not spare them, because it's either him or them. So he has to make that tough decision. Because for me, I think what he did yesterday is really commendable, but I also think any of them who has an issue with corruption, prosecution charges should be instituted against them. Yes. So it's just that we don't want the scenario where you just went home scot-free. We also want to see you charged because of the acts that you have done.
And going back to the Occupy Parliament, the recalling of the members of parliament that the protests are really calling for, maybe Wakili, if you would kindly explain to our viewer the process of recalling a member of parliament.
Okay, the process starts. One, each constituency must collect 1 million signatures of people who are registered as voters in that constituency. I'm not saying a person who resides in Embakasi, but his vote is in Kilifi. You must be registered as a voter in that constituency. So you must collect 1 million signatures. Then those signatures are taken to the IEBC for verification. And once the IEBC is able to verify that the said signatures are authentic, then they are going to call for the by-election.
Okay. And
can I?
Yeah, it's okay, Shiro.
So my question is,
yes,
I come from Gatanga.
Yes.
In Gatanga, we have around 190,000 registered voters.
Yes.
So where is the million coming in?
Yes.
The million signatures.
Yeah.
I come again. I come from a constituency that has 190,000 registered voters.
190 only.
Yes.
I think in that particular case, we'll take a third.
Okay.
Okay. So it's supposed
because
to
there
be
are very few constituencies with such large numbers.
Yeah. Okay. So Wakili, maybe to be a little bit precise, so it's a third of each constituency's voters.
Yeah.
Okay.
And how does this happen, or who puts up that petition?
You, a
You
voter,
as a voter.
the registered voter of
Uh-huh.
that particular constituency.
Uh-huh. And do the Kenyan people know this?
I think they know currently.
Okay.
Yes.
Uh-huh. And going back to you, Shiro, with the whole cabinet shake-up, with the whole dissolving, with the whole, we saw him dissolving 47 parastatals. What do you think are the political consequences for President Ruto?
I think he have chosen the people to his friends. The whole cabinet was a constitution of, it constituted his friends. So I think he has chosen to be on the people's side and really betraying or forsaking his friends. So I think moving forward, if he maintains the trend, he might, get a comeback. Not guaranteed, but he just might.
And the president has said a number of times that he is going to run again in 2027. So, Shiro, how does that future look for him? Because I understand you have to have loyalties, you have to have people who are by your side. So, how does the future look for him?
The future is not promised for him. It's not promised. But again, it will depend with how, moving forward, how he will bring everyone on board and how he'll make things flow in the cabinet, in all these, institutions. So if he gets bright enough to include everyone, he can get it. But the future is not promised for him, unfortunately.
Wakili, do you think that by him really trying to go by the book of everything Kenyans are really asking for, because so far he has tried to tick each and every box that the Gen Z wants or that the protests have been calling for, do you think that come 2027 will the president have the support of these people?
One, as he said, it is not promised. That is very clear. It is not promised. But what I can commend President Ruto, and I can say without fear, he is a smart person. All these people who are taken home, I'm so sure they had been notified prior. This and this will happen. But do not worry, I'll ensure that you get this. Maybe someone will be appointed as an ambassador, But also, as he's trying to ensure that his friends are protected, he has now realized that people are now woke, and they need to ensure that the government is working. And for him to ensure to receive blessings from the people, he must actually do what they want.
That is true.
You understand? It's actually a very difficult position for him, and I'm actually eagerly waiting to see his next move. Because if you are a student of history, the last president of the Soviet Union, there was such a thing that there was an outcry. States wanted to become independent, and he listened to the people and appointed people who were competent. The state people he appointed removed him, and each state became independent. So you may actually listen to the people and find that you yourself, you are going home. So I'm really waiting to see how this game will be played, because it's a chess.
And maybe from his speech yesterday, while he was giving that particular speech in the afternoon, most of the time when the president is making any announcement, when he's making any changes, he always has people behind him. So what mood did you read yesterday when he was giving this speech, Shiro?
I don't want to say he looked beaten, but again he looked so worried. I don't know what's up. Of which everyone could get worried in such circumstances. But as Banis has said, now everyone is woke. I led a maandamano in my home constituencies, and the parents of millennials and Gen Zs were with us. They were there chanting, I don't know who must go, doing all those things, raising their sanitary towers up, and they came in. So I think the president is worried, but it will work out for him. Sometimes I feel we're here for him then, we gave him the mandate so that he can make everything, he can make all these spaces work. The only thing you can help a youth is to make the environment a very safe space for him to thrive in his motuba business, in his smoky business. But once you come taxing, you're making sure that they are not thriving.
Okay, Bunnies, how was the whole mood around that particular speech?
I think it was tensed.
Very.
If I may say, it was really tensed, and we were not expecting what he did. May thought he's going to just dismiss few people. I didn't expect that the whole cabinet will actually go home, because there were tweets and some people had even started becoming vulgar. They said cabinet secretaries. So we did not expect that they will easily be gone as early as yesterday.
That's true. That's true. And obviously, after the president dissolved his whole cabinet, we did see some of them go on Twitter, particularly X, popularly known as X. I don't know if there's a day we are going to leave the Twitter name, but we did see some of them. Actually, I think almost all of them appreciated the president for the good job. Shiro, what did you read there? Were these people informed? Because what we understand from our president is that he's a very sharp person. Based on the response of all the cabinet secretaries. What do you think is next for them?
I don't know what will become of them, especially if they were the type who were very arrogant. Like, I don't want to mention them. We all know them. I don't know what will really become of them, but then there are tweets. I read all of them. One after another, tweeting at the same time, writing almost the same message. I think they were just playing smart to win back the trust of the head of state. I don't know, but let's see. Moving forward, let's see who will be retained, who will go home. I've seen so many youths or so many reactions. Proposing that so and so should come, so and so should just go home. So we want to see. We want to see.
Yeah. We want to see what is going to happen.
We are eagerly waiting.
And out of all the cabinet secretaries, Bernice, do you think that some should have stayed, or there was some who are really working in their ministries that should have stayed, and bore the brunt of others?
I can't actually recommend anyone. But I still think Kithure Kindiki is still a good man. I think he should be given a chance at a different cabinet. And also, I'm so sure someone like Mr. Chirchir, he's too loyal to the head of the state. So I'm so sure he's still going to come back. Aisha Juma, Mr. President still wants the Costarian votes. So I'm so sure she's going to be given a particular spot.
So if he uses the same route he used the last time while picking his cabinet, are we likely to see a same situation rise up, Shiro?
Yes, same things. The same thing will happen. It will just be different monkeys in the same forest. So if he uses the same you cannot keep doing the same thing the same way and expect different result. If he uses the same procedure, the same thing will happen. He should stay woke, just like his Kenyan people. Yeah.
And Bernice, what's next now for the country? What should we look out for? Is the president likely to bend his back more for people to listen to him?
For now, I think he'll bend more because he used to travel a lot. That is one, and now he's not being received positively as he used to be, because all other countries are admiring the Kenyan Gen Zs for what they did. So he wants to ensure that there is peace in Kenya, and for there to be peace, he must listen to the people. So I think he's going to bend more.
He's likely.
Yes.
He's likely to bend more.
Yes.
And Shiro, when are the Kenyan youths really going to be satisfied with what he is doing?
As Bunny said, I don't think there will come a time when everyone will be satisfied. There will be no that time. So it will be a progressive process. You know, like we have registered some progress with the finance bill, with the cabinet, with the dissolvement of the parastatals and all that. So it will be a progressive process, one after another after another. Eventually we will come to a realization of our future country. The current trading, to add on what Bernice has said, the current trading hashtag on X is Occupy Kampala. The message is out. They have learned from the Kenyan youth. Now they are making it done in their home countries. So we have set the precedents.
Let's go back to the 6-day dialogue that is supposed to happen starting, I think, on Monday 15th of July. We've seen that this particular dialogue is going to draw political leaders, it's going to draw religious leaders, it's going to draw all these people in the society. But we've seen the Gen Zs, as we are calling them, refuse for this particular dialogue to happen. Do you think that the whole reason why this whole, let me call it a revolution, started has lost its meaning? Because the president is really trying to speak to these people, but hawataki kusikika, hawataki kuongeleshwa. So, but do you think we are at a place where the revolution has lost its meaning?
Yes, I'm sorry to state this, na sitaki kusalimiwa. I think if you actually ask for something and the person you're asking for actually tells you, okay, let's sit down and negotiate, it's only wise for you to actually be in the negotiating table, for you to actually state your opinions, and for you to reach at an amicable settlement. If we just, our work is only to complain, what is our results? What are we trying to get? You know, for us to move forward and to ensure that our economy does not collapse, I think it's only wise that we engage him. Because this is a person who has shown us, okay, you wanted this, I've actually done this. You wanted me to dismiss the cabinet, I have done. So let us engage him in an appropriate manner. And I think the president has such a hard task to ensure that people will negotiate with him. Because I don't know which space he will use to negotiate with the people. But I will call to my call to all youth is, let's give him a chance. Because right now the process of removing him, it's like impossible. He still has majority of the members of parliament. So if we are not able to remove him constitutionally, let's do it the right way. Let's go to these negotiating tables. Let's engage him. After, if he does not actually listen to us, then let's go back to the streets. But first, let's engage him.
And Shiro, do you think that the reason why these youths are refusing this part of the dialogue is because I think today was the last day for the different groups to present their representative for this particular dialogue. Do you think it's because there is a representative that is needed?
Oh yes, and the youth, as we had said earlier, has come out as leaderless, tribeless, partyless, and all those lessons in between them. So it will make it so hard for the president to engage them. They don't want to, from their side, me included, we are not so willing to appoint someone because we have fears that he may be corrupted or bribed or, you know, just to speak in one voice with, I don't want to call them the oppressors, but the president. So there are some fears. One of them being that they may get bribed along the process, and then they will just, you know, abandon the cause and follow the, you know, I know you understand what I'm saying. But I think it is a hard task for the president to engage them, coming out as leaderless. So you cannot engage everyone. So how will he do it? It is very hard for him, and I know he's also finding it hard from his side. What I would tell them, let them give him a chance. Let's engage. Let's get to the table, engage. We bargain what you want to bargain. If he doesn't listen, just as Bernie said, let us go back to the streets. So, yeah.
And one of the reasons I heard them say that they don't want the dialogue is stop talking start working. And he has really done a lot. We've seen him do a lot of changes. But how deep can he really go when it comes to pleasing the people, noting that constitutionally there is a process that he's supposed to follow for everything that for every decision that he's taking in governance. Now, we've had the Gen Zs and the local people saying that he should go down to the county level. So, Banis, how is he going to manage that whole situation where the Kenyans want him to do something that the constitution doesn't allow him to?
That's why, as I started and as I earlier said, we the Kenyans, as we have tried to show the people we are woke, we should also read and understand the constitution and to follow the right procedure. Because the president is not in charge of the counties. He's only in charge of the national government. And we all know there's a process of removing of the governors, and if you have an issue with the CEC, there's a procedure. Let us read and understand these procedures, and let us actually do what is right in accordance to the constitution. We can't expect that a president can fire a governor. That is impossible. That is usurping his role. And that is what we are trying to say. We want a just and an accountable country. But why are we forcing the president to go to the county levels?
Yeah, that is right. And we've seen also the Occupy Health. We've seen give the medical interns jobs, give the JSS the JSS teachers jobs. And my question is, Shiro, can all this be done in this small time frame that the Gen Zs are giving the president?
We should give the course time. Rome was not built in a day. In our heads, we know what we want, and we have a clear picture of our country in future. But then we should give it time to grow. Should give our ideas time to manifest, And yeah, let's give it time. Rome was not built in a day. The hiring of the JSS teachers, now it has to wait until now. It is a long process, and we should give it time. Yeah.
And also, Banis, do you think that his recent moves or his recent changes has now raised that confidence among the youth in him as a president, especially going down to their level by trying to engage them in a next space? We did hear him be very engaging with the youth. We did hear some of them even call him Baba Shalin. Others really were very vulgar, but we didn't hear the president speak bad of them or do anything. Do you think the recent changes that he's doing is increasing the confidence that people have in him as a president?
I think he's trying, one, but normally not everybody will like you. That is the reality of life. But I think what he's doing is right. He's trying to engage the people, and he's doing what they need him to do. So that is commendable. Of course, not everybody will like you because others have their own interests. Some of them will want even to be the president of this country. So let him continue doing what he's doing. And if actually people love working with merit, with leaders with merit, then they will reappoint him to be the president of Kenya.
And when it comes to appointing the cabinet secretaries, one thing I noted about the recommendations of the Gen Z is that we want someone who has a clean record. We want someone who doesn't have any cases in court. Considering the way the president should appoint this particular, but do you think that's possible?
There's no specific way of appointing. So he can decide, okay, in the National Gazette, there are vacancies of cabinet secretaries. People, please apply, The Constitution has not stated there's that particular way of doing it. So that's why we are actually calling him to do it in an open manner. For him to say, okay, let me put these positions up for people to apply. Let us see that the recruitment was done in a fair manner. Let us watch on live television how the interviews are being conducted, and let us be given a time frame for people to give their views and opinions, and then for them to be appointed.
Okay, and Shiro, maybe through all the changes, through all the shake-ups, we've seen him actually do a lot. Politically, what advantage can he take from whatever is happening right now?
The advantage is trying to win back the trust. Obviously, people had lost trust in him, but I guess now it's rising. The trust is rising, so he is trying to win back the people to his side. And just as Bernice has said, not everyone will like you. The last general election, we had almost a 50-50. So there is a 50% of people who didn't vote for him and who are not for his ideas. Then there is this 50 who are for him and who believed in him, though he had lost a percentage of his 50, and that is what he's trying to win back. So I think he's trying to win back the trust, and anaweza pata if he continues engaging the people. We saw him on X, though I was unable to connect, but I guess I found some recordings and all that, so I followed later. Coming back to a level of you're engaging your people on a live edition means that now you are ready to work with the people and to listen to them. Yeah.
And I have someone here asking, Wakili, you said that the president can't fire a governor, but can he recommend the recalling of a governor?
That is, he goes to his party,
okay,
and tells the MCAs of that constituency, this person is actually not working. So initiate a motion in the county assembly for his removal. Once it's passed to the county assembly, it's taken to the Senate, where he still has majority. So he can still recommend, but not him saying, I have fired the governor. He cannot say that. It's actually mobilizing the MCAs to actually initiate that motion.
Yeah, that's true. And before we get more of your questions, by the way, you can continue sending them on 0711 176 006 as you continue partnering with the OTV. Our pay bill number should be on your screen, 171133, and also you can partner with us by sponsoring your favorite program and also by purchasing all OTV products, and also by bringing your advert on. For more information, 0711 176 006. And Bernice, we've really set a pace for Africa. We've seen a lot of actually we've seen even debates in television stations that are not in Kenya, outside Africa. What does that mean for Kenya politically?
Politically, we are woke, people are invested in what is happening. You know, normally most young people are not interested on what is on politics. They were really minding their own business. But what that is telling us is we have a woke generation who know that it's only by being interested in politics that's when we are going to have good governance and accountability. And that's a plus. What I found hilarious is the Ghanaian parliament, when one member of parliament told the others, you're not learning from what happened in Kenya. They occupied the parliament and people had to use the tunnels. The Kenyan youths are setting a precedence to all other youths that you have to be aware of what is happening politically in your country. It's not a time just to allow the ruling elites to continue doing what they are doing, but it's for you to stand up and voice out your interests and opinions to ensure that we have a working government or system. According to the law, what does it's if you read and understand what is a government, is a government of the people, for the people, and by the people. So that is what the current youths are doing. We want a government that is for us, and by
That's true.
Yes.
And Shiro, do you think the recent movement is not going to keep the government on toes? Should the president appoint a new cabinet secretaries and also the members of parliament? Do you think that let's even leave this particular reign? Come 2027, when the leaders are chosen, when we've appointed and elected leaders, do you think that this particular movement has set the pace for more governance to come? Are these people going to stay on their toes?
Yes, they will.
Uh-huh.
It has really shaped the narrative, the political narrative. It will be very different from the narrative we had in the last election. I guess the last election was bottom up, the hustler versus dynasty narrative. But moving forward, and I want you to recheck when 2027 comes. It will be a very different. It will be a generational course. It will be a generational discourse, and issue based. It will be very different, and only those who will come with issues, real issues that are affecting Kenyans without pretense. Unajua wanakujanga wanajifanya they are for us and they are not. Those who will be true, they will get it, and they will get it.
Okay. And Wakili, someone here is asking, in case pressure mounts for the president to quit, what is the way forward?
He can decide to bow out and quit, but I don't think that is Ruto's spirit. I think he will fight till the end. If you've actually heard him, the different places he has been, he's telling people, if you are not satisfied with me, wait for 2027 elections. Is he a person who's going to bow out? I doubt.
And maybe constitutionally,
Yes.
in case the people have decided we don't want you as president,
Yes.
what way forward? How should they do that?
Each constituency take you go, you collect signatures for each constituency. You take it to the IBC. Once the IBC approves, and those signatures it's taken as a motion to the parliament, and it must be debated by both the parliament and the senate. Once both houses approves, then he can be removed.
He can be removed without any disagreements once the constituency. Now going back to the constituencies,
Yes.
now for example, right now we've decided we don't want him.
Yeah.
So we have to start from the grassroots. Every constituency
Yes.
has to put in their signatures.
Yes.
A third of every constituency.
Yes.
Is court involved anywhere around there?
Uh,
Courts, the high court.
Yes, if the parliament does not approve, once not the court is approved, the chief justice, the chief justice is going to be given that recommendation, stating that we lack faith in the president. But in the chief justice, it only applies when he's declared mentally unstable. That's when the chief justice is given that report.
Someone here is also saying, kindly Wakili, look at that camera and tell the Gen Zs that about how to recall a president.
But what I know, the first things first, you have to ensure that your members of parliament initiate that motion. And it's taken to parliament, and later it's also taken to the Senate. And as it is, who has the majority members in parliament? The president. You understand? Unless we increase the pressure of stating Ruto must go, and he voluntarily decides to leave, then we are at a loss. Or if we decide, let's recall all members of parliament.
And actually, in regards to recalling, someone has just asked, is there another way to recall all members of parliament without collecting the signatures?
How will you do that?
Can the president dissolve
The parliament
the
can, yes.
legislature?
Yes, the president can, but there are specific reasons why he can. If the parliament is not actually following the provisions of the constitution, then he can actually dissolve. But what will the parliament have done against the constitution to warrant the dissolvement?
So as of now, Wakili, what choices do the populace have when it comes to recalling the president?
We start from the grassroots. Let's ensure that the people we elect to parliament actually they want to forward the interest of the people. Because once we have a majority of parliamentarians who are actually fronting the interest of the people, then such motions can be initiated. Without that, you are at a huge loss.
Okay, and in the interest of time, my producer is telling me that you have 3 minutes left. Shiro, I want you to look at that camera. That is your camera, and maybe tell something to the Gen Zs, of course, about the 6-day dialogue proposed by the president, and of course your parting shot.
I want to tell the youth to stay vigilant, to stay woke. We are not yet where we wanted to be. We have made progress, yes, but we still have a long way to go. So stay woke, stay vigilant, and everything will work out. Yeah.
Wakili, and also don't forget about the 6th day of dialogue.
Yeah. As I had earlier stated, msinisalimie tafadhali. I am a believer of engagement and dialogue. So I think for us to ensure that our country moves forward, let's give him a chance, let's listen to him, and also let us voice out our opinions of what we want to see and how we want to see the government running. That is the first thing. And also let us not relax. Whatever happens and we are uncomfortable, we have the streets, we have masses, we have numbers, we can still go out. But for now, let's give the president a chance to listen to us, to engage us, and give him a chance to actually implement what we want him to do. Without that, we'll have a confused state.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that has been Bani Skarita. She's an advocate of the High Court of Kenya, and of course we've had Shiro Chief. She said her name is Gladys, by the way. She gave us her first name. We've had a Shiro Chief. She is the also a youth leader and also a political leader. And earlier on, we were supposed to have Kimani, a Nyandarua youth leader, but he wasn't able to make it because of reasons, something happened there and there. But I appreciate you for being with us. This has been the Oracle's Partners Week. Don't forget that we are in our Partners Week, so you can continue partnering with Oracle TV, 171133. That is our pay bill number. And of course, account name Oracle TV. Also, you can partner with us by sponsoring your favorite program. Is it Women Without Excuse? Is it Wordfest? Is it The Morning Dew? All the programs you have, you can decide to become a sponsor of one. For more information, you can call us on our number, which I'm sure is on your screen. And also, you can bring your advert on with us. If you want to know how that goes, you can go ahead and call that same number. But apart from that, I have been Ruth Wanjiru. Thank you so much for tuning in to Oracle Television Network. It is almost that hour. Do not go anywhere. Keep it Oracle Television Network for most of our programs. Have a good day.